Good day, Miss Kelly and fellow classmates. In this video, I'd like to talk about the dangers of fake news on social media, give an instance of the extent of fake news, and provide a possible reason for why we are so gullible, or at least, for better words, vulnerable to fake news.
Firstly, it's important we understand what feedback loops are. This is the use of algorithms to display content that we are more likely to interact with on social media, resulting in feedback loops, the name feedback loops. Because this information is frequently crafted to our appeal or preferences and biases, we are more likely to accept it as true. The feedback loop is strengthened as we interact with this content, and the algorithm learns even more about us. The problem with these feedback loops is the fact that it creates a sort of confirmation bias, since it's only agreeing with what we like or what we believe in. This makes us more susceptible to propaganda and false information based off those beliefs, since we are more likely to believe them. My example that I talked about in my introduction was the 2016 US presidential elections. It was found that nearly 30 million times were the instances of fake news stories on Facebook. It was also found that 44% of Americans visited shady news sites during the 2016 election. It didn't necessarily satisfy their desire for hard news, but it did help in proving their confirmation bias, or proving their beliefs that the person that they want in power, most likely being Donald J. Trump, was worthy. What these fake news sites did was created false stories around his opponent, Hillary Clinton, with an example being, I think it was the child sex ring at the pizza place. I'll try and find the video and I can hopefully share it with you. But it was also found that they consume information from more unreliable websites, and fake news websites take an average of 64 seconds to read as compared to verified news, which takes around 44 seconds. 64 seconds may not sound like a long time, but you can get you can't get a lot done. But in terms of reading, you could probably read at least half a page of a decent looking novel in under 64 seconds.
I unfortunately could not find the direct clip, but I was able to find a news report, so I think I will just play that in its place. This news report also explores how Trump supporters were more likely to believe that the whole Pizzagate conspiracy, as I learned is the name, was actually true.
A few weeks ago, there was a dramatic and potentially disastrous story involving a 28-year-old man named Edgar Welch, who went into a pizzeria in North Carolina with a gun and attempted to make individuals pay consequences for an alleged pedophilia ring that was run out of that pizzeria. Well, that was, of course, a conspiracy theory that was debunked, and Welch even said himself that maybe he shouldn't have done that since his intel wasn't 100%. Well, after that gigantic story, where again, the conspiracy was debunked, turns out a recent poll finds that nearly half of Trump supporters, voters specifically, still believe that Hillary Clinton was running a pedophilia ring out of that pizzeria. It's insane. So this is an Economist YouGov poll released Tuesday, and it shows that a staggering 46% of Trump voters believe that the so-called Pizzagate conspiracy is real, that it actually happened.
So why exactly are we so vulnerable to fake news on social media? The answer actually lies in how our brains work. What happens is when we're exposed to information that confirms our beliefs and biases, our brain will release a chemical called dopamine. This makes us feel good. You can also release this chemical through exercising, winning in a sport, or finding money on the ground. This creates a positive feedback loop that reinforces our biases and makes us more susceptible to fake news. This is why it's important to be aware of the dangers of social media and to be critical of the information that we're exposed to. To wrap things up, the dangers of social media, specifically Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, just social media in general, cannot be overstated. Obviously, for the younger generation, they're more likely to be susceptible to fake news on apps such as Twitter, TikTok, and with TikTok, it can be through trends, such as the Tide Pod trend. People said, you'll just get a rush of energy, but in reality, it actually took the lives of at least, I believe, 10 teenagers. But sorry to sidetrack. These platforms are giant feedback loops that give people what they want to hear and make them more susceptible to fake propaganda. And we've seen real cases of fake news on these platforms, and we know that we're vulnerable to this kind of information. It is important for us to be aware of the dangers of social media and to be critical of the information that we're exposed to. Thank you.